I'm Rylie Lambert.
And I'm Jessica Rogers, and we're here with the Cascade FFA chapter. Today we will be talking to you about the difference in yeast and baking powder.
Baking powder quickly works and is used to rise baked goods to make a delicate structure. It has to be combined with acid to work.
Yeast, on the other hand, is a living single-celled fungus that comes in these little packets where they remain inactive. To reactivate them, you have to add warm water, which adds more flavor, but it also takes longer to rise.
Bread is one of the most simple but also one of the most complicated foods. In order to make bread, you have to have flour, water, and a leavener. Small air bubbles begin to form, which cause the rise. As the active yeast dies, the small air bubbles are kept, which creates a soft and spongy texture.
Yeast is found in agriculture all over the place. It's found in plants, grains, and fruits. Yeast is also in a lot of agricultural products, including biofuel, wine, and even beer.
Other foods that contain yeast is pickles, muffins, and salad dressing. What we will be showing you is what it would be like if the balloon was bread. The ingredients you will need is a 16-ounce bottle, 1 balloon, 1 packet of dry yeast, 2 cups of warm water, and 2 tablespoons of sugar. The yeast, water, and sugar will act together to create carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide will allow the balloon to rise. As you can see, she is pouring in the sugar. This is what it would be like if the bread were baking in the oven. As the bread slowly rises, the yeast will be reactivated and will start to eat off the sugars. She is now pouring in 2 cups of warm water. And then she'll put the balloon onto the bottle and then she will shake it. As she shakes it, we will wait to see the balloon start to slowly rise.
So next we'll be talking about baking powder. If you are using baking powder when baking bread, then the process may go faster, but the bread wouldn't be as good. Also, baking powder wouldn't add the soft, spongy texture, and it doesn't do as much for people as yeast does in agriculture. As you can see, she is adding 2/3 cup of water, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, and then once again the balloon will act as if it was the bread. She will now begin to shake it up. As you can see, the baking powder balloon will rise much faster than the yeast balloon does. The yeast has to sit for a little while before it will begin to blow up.
As you can see, what we have learned is that yeast would be a better choice than baking powder because yeast allowed the balloon to expand more. Yeast would make a better rise bread than what baking powder would. Baking powder may work faster, but it does not fully make the bread rise, and it also isn't as efficient like yeast is in agriculture.
As you can see, the balloons we have up front that were pre-made before our demo started, the yeast balloon is much bigger than the baking powder balloon. The balloons we just made, the yeast balloon is still deflated and hasn't blown up quite yet. This is because yeast does take much longer for it to rise rather than baking powder does. So why is yeast better? Yeast produces food such as spongy breads, drinks, fruit, cheese, and way more. It also accounts for a large number of careers available to students in the agricultural community. It has a rather large role in the world's economy, related to its tiny size, more than which baking powder could. Yeast also makes it more possible to help out many people in their everyday lives. Thank you.